Good morning, guys. Time for another little update video. Just got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I may get a project done today, may not. It's going to depend on what happens during part of the deinstall. Wow, I look tired as heck. I'm not. This light isn't very flattering. Anyway, it's pre-dawn, and I've been up and going for hours here, just starting to kick this into high gear because the wife just left work so I can make some noise. And what I've been doing here is kind of piggybacking off what I did for Jeff because, man, I'll tell you what, hearing his really well set up room dedicated for theater, all the nice soft diffusion materials, I cannot emphasize how much a room is just absolutely critical to the way a sound system works. It makes all the difference in the world. I don't care if you have a $100,000 system. I don't care if you have a $200,000 system. If you have a room like this that's just plain hard, it's not going to sound its best, and it may not even sound good. Time to bite the bullet and fix it. Now, let me show you what I'm dealing with. So you guys have seen the room enough. For those of you that have been over here, you know exactly how much volume there is. It's a very high ceiling, you know, tons and tons of just airspace. It's fairly generous in both width and depth, but it's not enclosed. It's not really a room. It's half open space and half hallway. And I don't know if you can hear it, but just talking in here, there is a huge echo. I can't clap, but believe me, there's an echo. You know, it's not a soft room by any stretch of the imagination. We do not want to put any kind of window dressing on that door. We love the view out there. You know, just absolutely stunning. Love to look at it. The only thing I would ever consider doing here is some kind of motorized screen, but even that wouldn't really help this situation because that's not going to be very acoustically absorbing, and that's the name of the game when you want to soften a room. Now Jeff's is absolutely perfect. He has 3 sets of heavy sunshade, you know, super thick curtains on the side wall covering pretty much the whole wall, and then about 2/3 of his back wall with just some shelves and everything, you know, kind of breaking up that backstage. And then again, stuff all against the little side wall here, and boom, that's it. I mean, he hardly has any hardwood exposed in front of the speakers. His rug starts like here, so it's nice and soft on the floor. That is controlling all of his reflections. Well, I'm finally gonna do something. This is pretty much my main problem, this huge bouncy wall, and that's all it is. I'm getting obviously some off the ceiling too, probably not too much because I am using the clips and because they are horn drivers. They are very directional, so I'm not worried about the ceiling. I don't think, not that I could because of the wife, but I don't think I would even want to do anything with the ceiling. It's very tall, but man, that back wall, this is the source of my problems. There's nothing I can do here. Obviously, there's no wall. This little side wall here, maybe something could go up there, but really, I mean, maybe a bass trap in the corner, but that's real. This is the only corner in the whole room, right here. This, you know, no corner over there. This is too far beyond the speaker to really be doing anything. Got some space behind the speakers, but these are rear ported. So I don't want to soak up anything directly behind the speakers. So the blank wall right here is actually benefiting the speakers, and I'm not getting any reflections back up here. So really, this is it. And this is a monster freaking wall. I mean, you can see the couch, and it's a large couch. These are oversized. It's not a love seat. That's about a 7-foot couch. So I bit the bullet and I ordered acoustic panels. Now I wanted to put up just nice, normal geometric shapes, you know, some solid color acoustic paneling, all kinds of options out there. I Googled and I researched and I read reviews and found a great company. Didn't even know it until I was ready to order, but they're in Tampa. And unfortunately, the wife put the kibosh on doing anything plain. Had to be art. Which was fine because they do art. They can do the panels in solid colors or print art. Just like printing a gallery print, a canvas print, they can print on their acoustic transparent covers for their panels. Downside, it almost triples the cost. So I ended up getting, I'm doing a triptych, 3 panels. Each is 4 foot by 2 foot. So it's going to go pretty much from the bottom of this picture, probably a little bit lower, up to about here, and come real close to the edge of these speakers with a small gap in between the 3 panels. All of that is going to be sound absorbing. They're special panels. Acoustic panels are not just art. They're not just fabric. They're not like curtains. They're actually 2 inches thick. They're framed in wood, and they're filled with a combination of Owens Corning acoustic fiberglass and a special wool that the company uses. Then the cover that the art or the color is printed on is acoustically transparent, meaning the sound goes right through the cover. It doesn't bounce off of it. If I were to put up canvas prints, just regular art prints, it wouldn't be much different than this blank wall. It would be just like this picture here. The sound would bounce right off of it and it wouldn't do any good. So the point of these acoustic panels is to absorb all the sound and it doesn't reflect it back into the room. And that gets rid of the echo that you can probably hear right now. And that's a problem with sound because as these speakers are playing, I was just doing some tuning with Aquaman. And you might notice the sub is gone, I'll get to that in a second. As the sound is coming out of the speakers, you have multiple points hitting your ears. Say, for example, we're sitting there, okay? Say somebody screams, ah! The sound first hits you directly from the speaker. But that sound is also traveling behind your head, boom, bounces off the back wall, boom. That reflection hits your ear just a little bit late. You also have sound bouncing down off the floor, up to me. You also have a little bit of sound, not so much with these speakers, but most bouncing up, off the ceiling, and hitting you even later. So you're getting 3, 4, or more of the same sound hitting you just delayed. And that gets you an echo, and that gets you muddy sound. It gets you dialogue that's a little hard to understand. Have you ever been watching TV or a movie and you just can't understand exactly what they're saying? It's a little tough to understand, and you don't understand why because it's turned up, but it's just like it's kind of blurring together. It's reflections. So when you get rid of that by putting up panels or curtains or lots of soft furniture or a full carpet, that kind of thing, and the only sound you're hearing is direct from the speakers, oh man, I mean, everything just comes together. The clarity, the dialogue, the crispness of all the sounds, instruments, I mean, everything just locks right in. So that's what I want because, man, I'm tired of this echo. I just can't deal with it. Okay, so what's the downside, you might ask? Well, as I said, cost. Just these 3 panels, $767. Now, like I said, the plain ones, I mean, they've got all kinds of awesome looking solid color ones, rectangles, squares. You can do different designs. You can do tiles. You can do whatever you want. Those things are super cheap. Those start at about 1/3 the price for the same thing, for the same function. So it's all about looks. The other downside is it's going to be a month to get them custom made because they have to license the image that we chose, and it took us an hour to agree on one art print that we both liked enough to fill this wall. But it'll look really cool. I won't spoil it. So that'll be coming soon. So why is the subwoofer gone? Well, When I first set things up, I had done a sub crawl and kind of ruled out this area of the room behind the chair. I didn't know exactly where the couch and the chairs were going to be, but you know, pretty much this area here and this area here are the only two spots in the room I can physically put a sub, period. There's no other spot for a sub. It has to be by an outlet, so I can't use it like in the middle of the room or anything. Some people will do that as a coffee table or put it next to the couch, and that's fine, but not an option here. There's no room back here. I can't do this end of the room because of this wall jutting out here. I'd have to push the chair way forward, and besides it's a null point, so it doesn't matter. And the electronics and the stack have to go here, so I can't swap this over to the other side or anything like that. So those two spots were the only ones available, and during my initial testing, up front was a little bit better than back there. However, I was only testing in one orientation. I tested up here, pointing that way and pointing this way. But back here, I only tested pointing forward into the room. I just didn't think about it. I got a wild hair at my butt coming back from Jeff's, and just hearing how clean and tight and pressurized his room is with a smaller sub. He's putting out way more bass with a smaller sub in his room. It just got me thinking I need to see if I can maximize this, because this sub physically puts out a lot more bass than the old sub. When I had that sub here, I knew I had it absolutely maxed out. I mean, right under clipping. I was running it completely balls to the walls. I know exactly what it sounds like at that level. Then I put this sub in its place in the same position, and it was more. So I know that this sub puts out more bass than the other sub. But in his house, that other sub is kicking this thing's ass, or at least it was. Still is in a couple areas, but it just pissed me off. Here I am spending a hell of a lot more money and getting less, but it's the room. There's nothing I can do about it because he has half the volume. And when you put a sub in a room that's half the volume, the pressure goes up and you get a lot more bass. That's all there is to it. In order to equal that, I would have to go to one of the monster $2,500 Ultra 16 subs. I'm not going to do that. That's just too rich for my blood right now. I don't want to spend that kind of money on a sub upgrade, at least not right now. But that's what I have to do to get the increased sound pressure to fill this space to that level. But as I was testing, I thought, you know what? I never tried different configurations in the corner. So I tried it this way. Boom, it's like a switch. Just turning this 90 degrees. The port is on the front on this sub, along with the driver. Just turning the port to fire along this back wall. Nearly doubled the volume. It was almost a 3 decibel increase just from doing that. The other benefit is it really gave me one of the key things I was looking for, the tactile pound in your chest feeling that the bass gives you. In Jeff's room, sitting on either seat in the couch, even though the sub is up front, it shakes your bones and shakes the whole couch. The bass is just completely pressurizing the room. And I wasn't getting that except for the extreme low bass, like in the 20s out of this when it was up front. I could hear the bass fine, but it wasn't hitting hard, especially the mid bass. But now, this is simply because it's closer. It's now called a near field setup, meaning the speaker is near to where you're sitting. And I've got 6 feet now between the driver and me. Now I get that. Now it shakes the couch. And the other huge difference, and this is really a big part of it too, this floor is directly mounted to the concrete slab. This is a concrete base house. There is no give. This is not a floating floor. All right, this is hard as a rock. And that is bad for subs. That is bad for bass. The bass does not it's not amplified at all by the floor. In fact, it soaks it up a bit. He has a floating hardwood floor, meaning there is cushion material underneath his slats of wood. So you get a nice soft bass when you walk on it. And that's what I had in my old house. That amplifies bass. So his sub has so much more going for it just because of his room. He has the amplification off the floor. It's close to all of his seats. It's in a much smaller airspace, so he doesn't need as much amplification, and the room is completely treated. He's got it completely down, and it works really well. And the sound is just phenomenal. It's seriously very close to going to a theater where everything is just right up front during a movie. And he mentioned that because he'd never experienced it before. He looks at me during movies like, the dialogue is like they're standing right there. I can hear every syllable. I said, yeah, it's really nice. So, man, I can't wait to get this in because I want that back. We kind of had that in the old house. The old house had, the front wall was pretty bare. I always had artwork put up. I got burned out on artwork. I had so many printed pieces. I don't know if this light's gonna come on. Hey, it did. So many printed pieces all up in the house. Wife hasn't even put any up. She's got a bunch. We got a bunch stacked there. Look at all this. I mean, this is just some of it. These are all frame prints that I made over the years. We haven't put any up. We just got tired of looking at it, you know, for so many years. So eventually we'll get it going, but this is going to be the start. Okay, so the other house project I got is this huge package right here, this huge tube. So the previous owner had kids, and like I said in all my other videos, the guy couldn't turn a wrench. This track stays pretty clean because it is a bird caged outdoor area. Not a lot of dust or anything or dirt gets in the track, but the stuff from the house does. And we keep the house clean. We mop and sweep and all that. So I haven't cleaned it since we moved in, but it was filthy when we moved in. So you can see this is not bad. This is like 9 months of dirt, hardly anything. So as long as you do a little bit of cleaning, you're fine. But it was filthy when we bought it. And the problem is, if you leave your tracks dirty and it gets onto the rollers, you run the risk of the rollers damaging your track. See all those lines? Those are dents on the track itself. You can see them because I've got the light on, but you can barely feel them. If you put your finger on them, they're just like, you know, barely noticeable. Problem is, when you open the door, anything beyond this speed rolls fine. The rollers are in perfect shape, but when you go fast and you open it, it starts to skip over those bumps. And you get that jostle. And that's because the roller is starting to jump over each one of those. So we've ended up having to open the door slowly to avoid that. This is as fast as we can go without doing it. And it's annoying. So unfortunately, this whole track has to come out to replace it. And it's screwed and epoxy down and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, not gonna happen for that. So what I found was a repair kit. It is a stainless steel, I won't take it out now, but it's a stainless steel U-shaped cap. And it's basically gonna give a new surface to the actual riser, to the track. This is a rounded top with a straight side. And the new stainless steel piece just kind of snaps over, put a little silicone in it, and it seals it and gives you a brand new surface for the doors to ride on. Now, there are two sizes. This is a small size. It's just the top part. It's just a U-shaped piece of metal extruded down. This is fine for minor repairs, just like this, where there's no damage, you haven't cut into the track, the rollers weren't bad, and they weren't slicing it apart or denting it or anything like that. So I can just snap on the new top piece, and that's all that matters. If your track is badly damaged, if it's bent, if it's nicked, if it's really gouged through, if you had bad rollers and it started to shave it away, then you get the larger size, and it actually stands on top of the base. It goes completely over the track. So you're not using this track anymore, or this, you know, the vertical piece. It completely rests on the base itself. So it totally replaces this. Now the downside is when you have an extra long door like this, it gets a little more expensive. And you can see it's a very long package. I was surprised UPS delivered it normally. Usually stuff this big has to go freight, but it wasn't too bad. It was only $48, something like that, shipped through Amazon. If you need the larger one, it's only like another 15 bucks. So that's not too bad. The track would be a hell of a lot more and a complete pain in the butt if I had to replace the whole actual assembly. If you need the larger size, you can really repair any kind of damage. And instead of siliconing onto the existing riser, what it does is just screws onto whatever's left of it down at the bottom. So it's really simple. Now to do it, unfortunately, because of the track that I need to repair, I have to take all 3 doors out, and these things are beasts. They are extra tall and they're wide and they're double paned, so they're going to be very heavy, and I'm sure they've never been out of the tracks before, but you can see that there's no way to get this off to the inside because of the height. What I have to do is raise the rollers all the way to give me some clearance, and then you just lift the doors slightly. They'll go up into the track, and then that'll just give you enough clearance to swing the bottom over the roller tracks and take them out. But this one has to go first, then this one, and then I can get that one out. And then I'll lay down my new cap, silicone it in place. I have to see if I've got any silicone left, and reassemble. So I'm gonna try lifting them, and if it's super heavy, I'll just wait until the wife gets home, but I think I can probably manage. It's not so wide that I can't grab it easily, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Got security locks on, and a couple of them are pretty rusted. I don't think it'll be a problem with that one down there, especially it's got some rust on it. I just left them on just so this door would never accidentally slide. We never come in from this way, and we have no need to open even the second one. You can open both of these and collapse everything for a, you know, open party door or something, but it's Florida, it's super humid. We don't do that. And some other stuff I got going on. I'm gonna have a dedicated video for this project as soon as I can complete it. This has been a month in the making already. This is a custom bracket to mount to my chair to then mount my throttle and joystick on to make it a flight chair. And these are custom parts made in Germany by a company called Monstertech. It took 3 weeks to make and get all the stuff I ordered, and unfortunately 2 of the brackets are the wrong size. So I've already sent the old ones in. It's been a week already. I'm still waiting for word on when the new ones are going to come in. I hope it's not going to be another 2 or 3 weeks, but it might be because they're all custom made. They machine everything by hand in-house, custom aluminum parts, fully adjustable. I got the quick releases. I got everything you could possibly get to make it really cool. But I'm looking forward to that. That will make it so much better to use, especially in VR. I've got to do a review of these. These are awesome new riding pants. They're armored. They got hip and knee armor. Oh my God, they fit so well. So I think a lot of bigger riders like me are really going to appreciate that review. So got to get that going sometime soon too. Too much stuff.